Americans return to space as Discovery clears the tower.
TTMTrades, we are back. We're going to do a weekly analysis. I already ran my scans for the week, and we're just going to go over a couple plays both on the upside and to the downside. All right, the market has definitely shifted due to this coronavirus. And one of the things I was talking about on my Patreon today was the S&P 500 and how the 150 period SMA will save the markets as it has been doing since October 2019. So what I want you all to pay attention to for this week is trade with the market. Do not go against the market. Okay, we've been in a bullish run since October 2019 when the SPY tested that 150 period SMA, and we've been on a run ever since. Okay, that was back when we were trying to break 300, so on and so forth. We broke 300 and we never looked back. So with that being said, we've been on a very bullish run. A lot of the top blue chip stocks and S&P 500 companies have been on a bull run along with the market, and we traded with the trend and we made it a lot of money. Okay, now the market is kind of in a iffy place right now because we don't know if it's consolidating and or it's going to have a major pullback. Okay, if I was a betting man, okay, I would say that the market is going to have a pullback because one, a lot of the top blue chip stocks are oversold and overextended, so a lot of them needed to pull back anyway. Okay, so you add quarter four earnings on top of stocks that are overextended, on top of coronavirus news, then that's enough for a lot of investors to pull money out of the market, let it cool off a little bit, and then once stocks pull back into a area of interest where people want to come back and buy into, then you'll see money come back into the market. But right now we are in a sideways consolidation with a possible breakdown. So what I mean by that, okay, so my scans, I always run them every week. Okay, I do 4 of them. Don't pay attention to the high volatility, low volatility. That gets a little more in depth. I just want you to pay attention to the general topics. Now this is what I'm getting at. Okay, now on the bullish uptrend, every time I ran this one, okay, on this scan, okay, on the bullish week uptrend, I would average, give or take, 400 and some change. All right. On the bullish strong uptrend scan I would average, give or take, 670 stocks. 670, okay? If you see that number has cut down in half, okay? On my bearish weak downtrend one, I picked up 45, and then on my bearish strong downtrend, when we was in that bull run from October 2019 up until this point, I was only scanning maybe 102 to 105 stocks that were on a strong downtrend. But now you can see these numbers have greatly adjusted. All right, we went from scanning 670 something stocks on a strong uptrend to down to 376 to now we're picking up. You know, we went from and then we went, as far as a strong downtrend, we went from only picking up 100 to maybe 105 to now we have 449 of those stocks hitting our scanners. Okay, so you can see the market has shifted. Okay, and a lot of these stocks are pulling back. So again, if there's a stock out there that you love and you want to hold and go long in, cool. But if you are a short-term trader, then I highly suggest you trade with the market. Okay, so let's look at the S&P 500 or its ETF counterpart, a very popular one, SPY, SPY. So as you can see here, as I was talking about, the 150 period SMA has been holding up the SPY since March of 19. As you can see, when it finally broke over, it pulled back to retest it, found support. That's one time. Pulled back again to retest it 2 times, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 back in October, finally broke away, and we have been on a bull run ever since. Okay, give or take 4 to 5 months. All right, so I think the stocks do need to pull back a little bit and cool off. Now, just a couple of items I'm paying attention to. Anytime a ETF and or a stock is in a strong bull run, okay, one, I know that trend is very strong when it stays above its 1 standard deviation Bollinger Band and holds between the 2, constantly tagging that upper band. So as you can see here, We're on a strong bull run. Finally broke above that upper band, and we've been running ever since, constantly tagging that bag. When we pull back, tagging that band, every time we pull back, we find support under 30, break back out, and we've just been continuing to run non-stop. So finally we pulled back when the initial news was coming out, and then as you can see, we tried to recover, bounce off of that 30, and then break back above that upper one standard deviation Bollinger Band sitting at 329. And then soon we pushed back up into that band, it was an immediate failure. And then as we came back down to the middle Bollinger Band, you could see buying tried to come back into play to hold that middle Bollinger Band, and then immediately the next day, heavy sell-off. Okay, so like I was saying in my over in on my Patreon, okay, with the 150 period moving average, we're currently looking at a couple of support levels. All right, and those support levels is sitting at that one standard deviation Bollinger Band at 321.31, which is right where the price action is sitting at, just a little bit above it, and then 317.43. All right, so what we want to see is we want to see 321 and 317 hold. All right, now I honestly do not think those two are going to hold. I believe we may hit that 321 sometime tomorrow on Tuesday. You may see a little bit of buying, people trying to accumulate and hold that support. It may push back up to that 325 middle Bollinger Band, but I highly doubt it breaks back above, and you're going to get a strong reversal to the downside. Now, with that being said, the 150 period movement average is there to save the day. All right. If that 321 and that 317 fails, then we're looking at nose diving back down to 303, which is a pretty steep dive. I want to say I highly doubt we dive that low, but the way things are looking, we look like we may be diving down to 303. And that 150 period SMA will have to once again save the ETF SPY, which represents the S&P 500. Okay, so zooming out to the weekly, that lets us know the weekly middle Bollinger Band is sitting at 303. Okay, that's what our 150 period moving average correlates to on a higher time frame. Again, that moving average helps me identify where we're at on a bigger time frame when I'm zooming in. Okay, so 303 is the weekly middle Bollinger Band for SPY. We zoom out, middle Bollinger Band sitting right here at 304, so we're about $1 off, give or take. All right, with the weekly top one standard deviation sitting at 318. All right, so if that fails, that 317 to 318, if we break through that support on high volume, then you can definitely see us pulling back down to that 303 to 304, where the 150 period SMA is at, and the weekly middle Bollinger Band is sitting at. Okay, so what I would do is, you know, if you're an option trader, I myself, I'm definitely looking at playing puts this week, unless some miracle news come out and they say they've cured the coronavirus and all the top S&P 500 stocks have pulled back and cooled off, and you know, all this great news come out at one time, then I won't play puts. But right now, I don't think that's going to happen this week. I think this is going to be another week of bleeding, and I just would not play against that trend. Okay, I wouldn't be trying to go long in stocks when the overall market is pulling back. Now let's just look at a couple of our indicators. The Shande trend meter. Okay, that green area represents how strong a trend is. Okay, so the lighter green means we're in a weak uptrend. That little dark green right there means we're in a strong uptrend, and then the darker green at the top means we're in a very strong uptrend. So as you can see, when we started that uptrend one, we broke above both our averages, and we was holding in that very strong to strong trend area. As we pulled back, we still stayed in the green, signaling that the uptrend was weakening. But again, it started taking back off again, holding up in that area. And as you can see, we nosedive down to the green, tried to recover, and then immediately sold off, and now we're down in the yellow. Okay, so one, that's a sign. Okay, two, another sign is we broke through that middle Bollinger Band. Anytime we're in a strong uptrend, if we're in a very strong uptrend, we'll hold above that one standard deviation. If we are in a sense of a pullback, but the uptrend is still intact, we will test that middle Bollinger Band and then continue our uptrend. But with that being said, not only did we break through that top one standard deviation, we hit that middle Bollinger Band and tried to push back through with a rejection, and then we failed altogether and broke down through that middle Bollinger Band. So the only thing holding us up right now is the 321 on a daily time frame, and then 317 to 318 as a last resort per the weekly chart. Okay, if those two fail, we are going to nosedive down to 303. So I would have those put options prepared. Second sign is the PMO, which I've smoothed all the way out. It used to make a lot of noise, up, down, up, down. I smoothed it all the way out. So that way I don't catch every little movement. I just want to identify a trend where we're on a trend, so that way I can trade with it. All right, so with that being said, and it's smoothed out, we had that crossover in late October to signify the trend strength, breaking above both our averages and holding at all times. And then finally, it has crossed over. All right, now this hasn't crossed over since October, back when it crossed up. And now it finally just crossed below to show that the momentum is beginning to shift in the bear's favor. All right. Now, again, I told you I smoothed this thing all the way out. Okay. Higher averages. So for this to cross down and over, that means it takes a lot of selling pressure for this to react to that. All right, because I smoothed it out to minimize a lot of the noise it was making initially. All right, so we're already pushing down through the 10 period average, the 30 period simple moving average, the yellow line. I think we will pull back to test that 75 SMA just below it, and hopefully that holds where the price action will consolidate and we can break back out in this uptrend. Now, like I tell everyone, volatility is cyclical, all right, meaning it moves in cycles and it is very forecastable, all right. A stock is either very volatile, which that volatility will soon lead to low volatility, and or a stock is has low volatility, and that low volatility is going to lead to high volatility. All right, very cyclical and very forecastable. So what do I mean by that? Here, this is my Bollinger Band width. All right, when that Bollinger Band width is below its average, that tells me that the Bollinger Bands are constricting and the price action is consolidating. And when you have low volatility, that will lead to high volatility sooner rather than later. All right, so with that being said, low volatility, below its average, bands constricting. You finally get that breakdown. High volatility, we break above it. All right. Again, low volatility, fall below its average, bands are constricting. You get another breakout run on the SPY. As the SPY makes that run, it begins to pull back towards its middle Bollinger Band and consolidate sideways a little bit. You get the low volatility again, showing that consolidation, and then you get another breakout run showing the high volatility. And the price action is running up. Now you get another pullback to test that middle Bollinger Band with another sign of low volatility. Again, this Bollinger Band width isn't a directional signal. It doesn't tell you which direction the price action is going to break out. It just tells you if the price action is consolidating, which will soon lead to a breakout, or if the price action has already broke out, which will soon lead to consolidation. Remember, cyclical. All right. So since we are moving into a low volatility state where the price action is currently consolidating, then you know where there's low volatility, high volatility will soon follow. So give or take in a week and some change, this will turn upwards and we will move into a high volatile phase. So with that being said, the price action contracting right here, which direction will this break out at? All right. And again, if I'm a betting man, all right, this is going to break out to the downside. All right. That's just me. Now, for me, quite personally, that's healthy. The market needs to pull back. It really does. Okay. And when the market pulls back, those are buying opportunities for everyone to enter their favorite top blue chip stocks, S&P 500 stocks, the Disneys, the Netflix, the Teslas, and everyone else that they missed in that initial run up. And this is a good time to reposition yourself and prepare for the next leg. Okay. So, does anyone want to see the market bleed? No, nobody likes logging on and seeing red on their account. Okay. But for those who are on the sidelines and watching, and are those who sold at the top and profited and they're sitting in cash right now, this is a good time to watch the market bleed and pull back and reposition yourself for the next leg up. All right. So that's on SPY. All right. As far as the scans, I'm not gonna go into that. You know what? We'll talk about one. We already talked about one. We talked about Netflix. I'll tell you what I'm watching. We're not gonna go in depth. I don't want to touch too much. Super Bowl about to come on. So I'm watching ticker ROKU. All right, ROKU. So ROKU has been in a sideways consolidation and kind of had that gap down, and it tried to recover and break back above this upper band to start its uptrend. But as you can see, each time it's rejected towards the middle Bollinger Band, rejected, middle Bollinger Band, rejected, 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 and now it looks like it's breaking out the band to start a downtrend. Okay, now you had this kind of contracting situation because it was pulling back, finding support on the 150 period SMA, support, 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 and now it's finally broke through. Okay, so with that being said, on high volume, with the PMO turned down, moving at a high rate, and us moving into a low volatility setting. Again, volatility is cyclical. A breakout is bound to happen soon, and just looking at the setup, more than likely it's going to happen to the downside. Okay, so I'm going to keep an eye on ticker ROKU for some plays. Now, the rule of thumb from Bollinger Bands is anytime the price action break outside the band, you zoom out to the higher time frame to find its next line of support. Okay, so we're going to go out to the weekly, because as you see here on the daily, the line of support and resistance that was holding it on the daily time frame, it has finally broken out of that that support resistance area, and it's outside the band. So now we zoom out to the weekly and we see where the price action is going. All right, it's failed that 150 period SMA as we was looking at right here, sitting at 130, 129.88. Remember that 150 period SMA represents my middle Bollinger Band on my weekly chart, because it gives me an idea how I'm positioned in the bigger picture. So we've broken through that middle Bollinger Band. Next line of support is sitting at 112. Okay, so we're looking at ticker ROKU. If that downtrend continues, we're going to push down to about 112. Now hopefully we get some buying to hold up ticker ROKU, and possibly a reversal to try to move back to the upside as the market bleeds out. Okay, if that 112 fails for any reason, which I highly doubt, now we're looking at $94 for the next line of support. Okay, but I do think ticker ROKU is going to push down to 112 and try to find some buying power for the bulls to push that back up. Next, I'm also watching Netflix. I like the way Netflix is consolidating. I traded call options and put options on Netflix all in November and made a little over 11 grand just off this small run up right here. Okay, and as you see, Netflix has continued this onslaught of moving up. Now Netflix is in an uptrend. Remember, I told you anytime a stock uptrend is intact, it will hold above that middle Bollinger Band. Okay, so as you can see, Netflix as it was in this downtrend and it broke out, finally found support within the bands, had a run up, found support on that middle Bollinger Band, another run up to test this weekly middle Bollinger Band, 150 period SMA. As it pulled back, it fell below the middle Bollinger Band, but you can see buying happening right in that area. Had another run up, and then again some choppy price action as it moved into earnings. Earnings report came out, nice drop, but as soon as hit that middle Bollinger Band, a lot of buying, and now as you can see, the sell-off is right at 360, where the price action is consolidating sideways. So Netflix is holding up pretty well. Every time it dips down, there's some buying, and you can see that the volume is kind of tapering off to signify that a breakout is going to happen here soon. So again, where there's high volatility, the low volatility will follow. As you can see, we were above the average high volatility. Low volatility is following, meaning the bands are contracting, signifying that a breakout is bound to happen here soon. Now, where there's low volatility, high volatility is follow, hence the breakout I was just talking about. So we can see that top one standard deviation Bollinger Band sitting at 344 is acting as a line of support, and we have 352 as a line of resistance where it last was able to close. Okay, so we're looking at 344 to hold. If 344 seems to fail, then we're looking at 336. But if we get a breakout above 352 on high volume, then we're looking to test some old levels on Netflix as we zoom out and look out to the weekly. If we break out above that 352, then this next line of resistance on the weekly chart is sitting at 360. Now, even on the bigger picture, Netflix is very bullish right now, even on this weekly time frame, where the Shande kept getting rejected by its 75 period moving average. It has finally broken above, and it's doing some soul searching to try to find some support and break out to the upside. So Netflix is looking good to reclaim its highs of that 380 to 385. Where it was kept getting rejected nonstop before it finally had this fail run down into its 150 period SMA, which represents the monthly chart middle Bollinger Band, and it immediately found support and has been running up. So Netflix is looking very bullish right now. And also Tesla is on a very bullish run. I think Tesla will continue this uptrend with a slight pullback here soon. The stock is already very volatile. Again, where there's periods of low volatility, high volatility will follow with a breakout. Low volatility, boom, you get the breakout. High volatility right here. As it pullbacks and consolidates sideways, you get a period of low volatility, boom, with another breakout. And Tesla is moving and is on a tear. Okay, so it's creating new highs. I do think Tesla will continue this run. I think when I zoomed into the 30-minute chart, I think Tesla just needed to cool off. I typed in Netflix, excuse me. Tesla. Yeah, Tesla just needed to cool off. As you can see, it's consolidating here sideways. And you can see the low volatility phase with the final breakout here in the 30-minute chart. And the volatility is starting to constrict the price action. And again, when there's low volatility, there is high volatility to follow. As we said, volatility is cyclical. So it looks like Tesla wants to break out and make another run here soon. So what we need to see is first, Tesla break above 654 and hold. If it makes that break above 654 and holds, then Tesla will continue its bull run. As you can see here on the weekly, it is very bullish and breaking outside of its Bollinger Bands. And I don't think on any time frame, even if we zoom out to the monthly, there isn't any resistance, because Tesla is currently making new highs as we speak. So even going out to the monthly, is breaking out of the monthly band on strength. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on Tesla. Probably can get a nice run up on this one. I don't know where its next line of resistance is or where it's going to push. So again, I'll wait for that 654 break and hold, and then you should get a breakout with the uptrend continuing, and hopefully running a 700 before you get the next sell-off and some price consolidation. All right, that's it, man. TTM trades, again, understand the markets have shifted from a very bullish state to a bearish state, as overall the stock market pulls back and cool down, along with the coronavirus and fourth quarter earnings in play, along with the Trump impeachment going on. So there's a lot going on right now. Plenty of reasons why investors wouldn't really put too much money in the market and risk it all. Oh, also keep an eye on gold. Okay, with this going on with the market, gold is also a definite play. I've talked about gold many a times on my Patreon right here. Could gold be reversing a slight consolidation? And as you can see here, gold is still continuing its up run from that last post. So I would definitely keep an eye out on gold. I don't think this run is going to fade anytime soon. So we can definitely look at for the traders who trade regular stocks, the JNUGs, the NUGTs, all of that, good trades right here. And then for those who play options, you already know how to play this and what to do. So again, man, TTM Trades, I'm out. Check out the links below to my Discord, to my Patreon if you want to support. If you want to get more one-on-one and some learning material as far as videos and everything, check out the Patreon and hit me up. But till next time, TTM Trades, trade with the trend. Do not go against it. And I'm out.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.